Hello, people. Today we have this small collection of demilled or otherwise destroyed firearms. This first piece looks like the front end of a 1911 slide. It appears as if it was completed into a pistol and then the slide was removed and just hacked right in half. More than likely because it was discovered that this slide had a mechanical flaw that caused the pistol to be unreliable. So it had to be cut so that it wouldn't be used in the future to build another gun. What I thought would be really cool, cut the slide right down the center and clean up the edges, weld some threaded extensions on the inside and use both sides as a cabinet handle or a drawer pull. Here's the front end of a 1911 frame, the dust cover and trigger guard to what looks like a Commander, and it's a lightweight aluminum too. That's a shame. Hard to say why it was cut in half, but I thought would be really neat was to fuse these together, complete it with some parts, and use it as a coat rack or a hat rack. I think that would be really, really cool. Here's the complete top end to a 1911 handgun. Wow, look at how that barrel fractured and the slide bulged out. So it's possible this was a squib, but more than likely it was probably a double charge. Could have been a squib that followed a double charge, or a double charge that followed a squib, rather. So based upon the length of the chamber and the diameter of the barrel, that tells us that this was a 40 Smith & Wesson. Now, I've seen a lot of squib loads in 45, and a 45 chamber is going to be thinner than this, and I've never seen the top of a barrel in a 45 rip away like that. So that's what makes me believe that this was probably a double charge. It's a shame. This was an expensive mistake. Here's another slide. This is the back end of a slide. Looks like a stainless slide. But it looks like here at the front, this wasn't cut. This literally just shattered and broke away like glass. This is very, very rare, but it's believed that this was the result of either no heat treatment or too hard of a heat treatment. And I'm going to assume too hard of a heat treatment. If it had no heat treatment, I would think that you would start to see subtle movement in the slide in different places rather than it shattering like this. Hard to say, really. Here's a complete handgun. So this is a 45, and look at how that barrel bulged. This was a squib load. And look at how the recoil spring imprinted on the barrel at the time of the explosion. When this happened, of course, the dust cover broke away and the recoil system flew out instantly. But in that split second, the pressure caused an imprint from the recoil spring. I just think that is very, very interesting. Serial number on this one is WCP 002150. This is a KZ-45 by Wilson Combat. Again, another expensive mistake. But this slide could actually be reused, and all these parts probably. You just need a new barrel, a new frame, and a recoil system, and you're good to go. But I thought it would be much cooler to just keep it like it is. You know, this makes a really interesting conversation piece. And the last piece we have is what looks like a complete slide. But it has a date on the top written in Sharpie marker. It reads July 25th of 2007. Well, that nails it down to the date, down to the specific day, doesn't it? Presented by your friends Chip McCormick and Bill Wilson. Wow. So this is a very exclusive marking, and not just anyone could purchase this. A gun built with this slide. You had to be part of a very elite group of people. Sergeant Joey Gordon, Texas Rangers DPS, 1980 to 2008. So this was meant for a very specific individual, marked with his name. It looks like he's a Texas Ranger. So why wasn't this used? And if it wasn't used, why wasn't it demilled so that it couldn't be used? Well, the answer is that little marking right there. So when the laser engraver got done running its program, it stopped on that point and bored a hole, a shallow hole into the slide. This was one of the first pistols, if not the first pistol made with this marking. And the laser engraver, the program that was meant to do this, just had that flaw in it. So they couldn't use it. They had to throw it away. They had to discard it. But instead of demilling it, it was left uncut because, of course, it's not a mechanical flaw. You could use this slide to build another handgun. It's just going to have that shallow anomaly in the slide, which was not meant to be there. So that's why it was discarded. But quite honestly, I think it would be at a horrible disservice to the Texas Rangers or Sergeant Joey Gordon specifically for anyone to build this into a handgun and think that that's all right. But I couldn't let it just be thrown away. This is a beautiful piece of trash. And who knows, maybe someday, maybe it'll end up with Sergeant Joey Gordon. I think it makes a great conversation piece. Thanks for watching, people.